As students who are primarily going to be accessing our resources online, it is important that you learn how to navigate the resources that are available to you through Copley Library. So let's get started. You can access the library's page through a number of access points. One of those being sandiego.edu/library, which is the library's homepage. You can also access the library's webpage through My San Diego, through the Torero hub, and then clicking on library. Or if you've already explored the LibGuide created for your program, you can also access the library's resources through any of the linked resources there. Let's say I'm interested in finding journal articles about diversity in e-learning. So here's where I would start. If I'm unfamiliar with the databases, this is a great option to browse by subject. The Copley Library databases are tagged for the subject areas that they may be most relevant for. However, if you see one that you like, you can choose any database that's relevant to your topic. I'm going to scroll down to the education databases because I'm interested in diversity in e-learning in higher ed. When I start initial searches, I like to choose a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary database to start my search. This allows me to cover a wide swath of disciplines and topics and make sure that I'm capturing as many potential resources as I can. We're going to start an academic search premiere today. Well, let's take a quick look at the EBSCOHost platform. There are a number of helpful things that you can use, including a list of the publications. You can go through subject terms. You can look for cited references, images, and much more. Another thing that you can do is look at the search options, for which you would see common limiters and facets, like the ability to limit to scholarly or peer-reviewed journals, or to limit by a particular publication date range. One of the great things about a multi-database platform like EBSCOHost is that you can choose to search multiple databases at one time. You can also choose, if you would like, to select all of these databases and search them all at one time. But most of the time, I select databases based on my topic. If you are unfamiliar with what each database houses, you can hover over the little scope note here, which will give you a little snapshot of what's in each database. So let's select some based on our topic of diversity in e-learning in higher ed. I'm going to choose the education databases, of course, to cover the e-learning and the higher ed. I'm going to choose LGBTQ+ source for the added diversity and inclusion, business source premier, because it includes a lot of leadership journals. Again, you could choose as many or as few of these databases as you like. Choosing more databases to search can only help your search. It will not harm your search to do so. We're going to build a search in the advanced search feature, which makes it easier to build a more complex search query than using the basic search box. Let's take a look at our different options now that we have a multi-database search happening. We still have the ability to limit to scholarly peer-reviewed journals or to limit by publication range. And if there are any special limiters for each database that we want to add at this time, we can do so. For instance, ERIC has the education level limiter. This allows me to limit in my ERIC results based on the education level. In this case, I'm interested in higher ed. So I'm going to choose some options like higher education that's going to capture the results that I'm looking for. In order to select more than one of these education levels at a time, click on your control key if you are a Windows user. Do not initially limit your results to just full text items. Because Copley Library partners with other libraries in our different consortium agreements and through interlibrary loan, you have a much wider range of full text access than what's immediately available through any of our database subscriptions. So even if you don't see the PDF or the HTML full text immediately available, you can request those items via interlibrary loan or ask a librarian for additional help. We're going to start with a basic keyword search, and then we'll take a look at our results and modify our search if we need to. The EBSCOHost system will try to figure out what you're interested in and help you with the terms, just like Google will try. You can build a more complex search by using the Boolean term or, and or helps you expand your search results. So use or to connect synonyms to your main term and to connect closely related terms. So in the case of diversity, you may also want to look for terms like inclusion or equity. E-learning has multiple closely related terms as well. So when you start typing in e-learning, you will see those pop up. And we're also interested in how diversity and e-learning works in the higher ed setting. So let's add higher ed terms to our search. We're going to keep this as a keyword search, which is select a field, but you do have other options, which I would recommend that you wait for your subsequent searches in order to try out. Let's just see what results we get first. Currently, we have over 6,000 results. The limiters that we initially had are still available. Our results are going all the way back to 1914. We can see the different source types. And this is also a great opportunity to kind of quickly scan the initial results that you're seeing, maybe the first 10 or 20 results, and see if they are on target for what you're interested in. Another tip is to look at the subject terms. If you refine your next search by using subject terms, your results are likely to be more relevant to the topic that you're interested in. And so we see that universities and college and higher education are common subject terms. Also, online education and distance education are listed as subject terms. So in future searches, we could refine that. We see some pretty good options here. Let's try to limit by subject. Now we have 51 results. If at any point I want to limit to peer-reviewed journals, I can do so. Let's look at a couple of results more closely. Number 2, a review of personalized e-learning towards supporting learner diversity looks like a pretty good result. Let's take a closer look. It's coming from the International Journal of Distance Education Technologies, and it was published in 2015, so it's a fairly recent. Clicking on the title will open up the item, and now we have the ability to see more information, including keywords that could help us with future searches and the abstracts. Anything that is hyperlinked will give you the option to search more based on whatever you're clicking on. If I wanted to see if USD has the full text of this item, I can click on the Check USD Full Text Availability Now link, which opens up a web resolver page that explores our other databases to see if we have access to this particular journal article. If not, you'll see a link that will connect you to the Interlibrary Loan Portal where you can place a request for this item. Further down in the results, we see an option number 9, embedding and sustaining inclusive practice to support disabled students in online and blended learning. And I see that there is a PDF attached to it. Let's click on this option. I can either at this point go ahead and download the PDF, or if I want to take a closer look at the detailed record, I can click here, which will give me the option to see more information about the particular resource. Anytime you generate a search within your session, it generates a search history. You can use these search terms that you've generated in other databases to perform the same search. You can also use this to save your search. For example, let's say I want to go back to my initial search and save the results so that I can come back to these results later. Under the share button here, you can grab the persistent link to this search, place it in a Google Doc or wherever you're maintaining your search links. And anytime you click on this persistent link, it will come back to these results. Finally, let's say you're interested in citing one of these results. Most of the databases do have built-in citation generators. However, they are not 100% perfect. And so you need to double check any generated citation that is offered by any system, whether it's Google Scholar, EBSCOHost, ProQuest, any of the generated citations. You go down to the Cite button here, and you'll get a pop-up of different citation or recommended citation formats. If you scroll down, you'll see the APA recommendation. And again, these generated citations are not always perfect, so make sure that you take time to correct anything that you may see that is incorrect before you submit it. Each individual resource will also have its own permalink. So if you want to come back to a particular item, you can grab the permalink that is available for that particular item. This concludes our sample search for today. If at any point you need help, you can always click on the Ask Us button and chat with a librarian for more assistance. Or you can reach out to your subject liaison librarian for additional assistance.